Okay. Hai, selamat petang. Selamat datang ke sesi Fikirasa Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. Kita di forum yang kedua petang ini dengan tajuk On Acting, Screen versus Stage. So petang ni kita nak cakap sikit lah pasal lakonan dengan para performer yang terlibat dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. Sebelum tu kita nak kita bagi pengenalan sikit. So Sesi Fikirasa Tiada Cinta Selama Muda dibawakan oleh Ensembel Teater Kaos Nol dengan kerjasama Moka Mocha Ink dan rakan strategik kita CENDANA Malaysia. So terima kasih kepada semua. So petang ni kita akan bersama dengan dengan 5 orang performer dalam ni yang kita ada Hazel ataupun Hazel Khairuddin. Okay, so so sekarang ni macam kita ada panggilan yang biasa kita panggil semua orang lah. So Hazel kita panggil Tasha. So I don't know untuk sesi ni kita nak kekalkan dengan korang punya stage name ke macam mana, nanti boleh inilah. Dan kemudian kita ada Aziz, tada, okay, dan Lew Shu Ni ada dekat bawah situ, dan Sandee Chew, dan last kali kita ada Roshafiq Roslee. Amboi, dia siap ada screen kat belakang tu extra tau dia ni. It's always like that. Okay, petang ni mungkin kita boleh start dengan memperkenalkan diri masing-masing dan terutamanya kita nak cerita pasal latar belakang masing-masing untuk dari latar belakang lakonan untuk setiap performer lah. Mungkin ada siapa nak start dulu? I think mungkin kita boleh start dengan Sandee. I think sebab Sandee okay, I tak naklah cakap yang paling senior kan. tapi mungkin Sandee ada yang sejarah yang paling sejarah yang agak lama jugalah, selain daripada ada seorang lagi yang mungkin tengah froze sekarang. Okay, silakan Sandee.
Hi, I'm Sandee. I dah buat like acting selama mungkin since 2008. I kebanyakan buat theater. I was a co-founder of Shakespeare Demystified that is now under KL Shakespeare Players. I was a technical coordinator and also lighting designer. Film-wise, I buat yang kecil-kecil lah, ada like hasil commercial kat sini, like short film kat situ, tapi tak banyak sangat. Kebanyakan is like theater lah, musical, stage, dan lain.
Seterusnya siapa nak ni? Mungkin Aziz. Bedok, silakan.
Hai, saya Aziz. Saya start berlakon agak lambat sikit lah semasa belajar di UiTM, dan terlibat antara stage, theater dan screen untuk short film lah, kebanyakan short film dan stage. Dan ada juga sebelum tu saya start dengan kru jugalah dekat production UiTM punya, start pada jual tiket, technical semua macam tu.
Can we go to okay, Lew Shu Ni.
Ya, masa saya prep untuk soalan ni, saya pergilah cari cert saya yang saya pernah like workshop yang I pernah pergi. Tiba-tiba saya teringat, the first time I was on stage was actually when I was 5 years old. Yeah, and I played like a old lady. Because masa tu I rasa ialah macam year end ke sem break performance. There's a girl who was singing lagu Burung Kakak Tua, and she need like 2 person to play play like, you know, the singer. So masa tu, I still remember the casting process in which all the girls in my class like standing in one line on the stage, and then from the, because I was in this end, and then the teacher was starting at the other end. So dia macam bagi satu like macam the tongkat, like, you know, passing around. Like everyone is like saying no. Probably because that time was daydreaming. So when it was my turn, I just received the tongkat and I got the role. Yeah, that was my first experience as a actor, and I acted as a old lady. And then after that, maybe at 12, I did like a school performance in class, and I really enjoyed it, and that's about it. And after that, macam kena belajar lah apa. So I think in 2014 was the first time I was looking. I forgot what movie I was watching, but I'm like, wow, these actors, like, what kind of process they went through, like how they able to do what they do. So I eventually signed up on an acting workshop, and then in 2016 I went to my first audition, and then I got the role. Yeah, that was the beginning of my, like, actually I think it began like in 2014, like officially, and then I got my first role in 2016.
Okay, cool. Seterusnya mungkin kita ke Hazel. Boleh ceritakan background, macam mana boleh start berlakon, penglibatan awal lah.
Sure. Hi, Assalamualaikum. Saya Hazel. For me, I think it's a bit more, not to say unique, but then mungkin secara tak sengaja. Sebab year 2015 was a very hard time for me because I lost the job and everything. Then from 2016, I started with show choir. So from show choir, I fall in love with the adrenaline that I had on stage. Not so much of the singing, but when I had the dialogue for the first time, it was really, really nice. So we decided then in 2017, me and my husband, Sham, so we enroll in Apakah's beginners acting class. So that's how I got involved. Yeah, that's from me.
Okay, thank you. So dan yang terakhir kita dengarkan sejarah penglibatan Roshafiq Roslee dalam bidang lakonan. Sejak dari bila ni?
Saya punya first stage debut atau lakonan started masa umur 9 tahun. Saya ikut my parent pergi latihan teater. Teater dia tajuk dia berjenjang naik bertangga turun. So saya selalu ikut pergi rehearsal sampai late night, and then suddenly the director was like, hey, anak kau ni tak nak berlakon ke? And then after that, diorang ambil berlakon. I was just an extra, tak ada dialogue. My role was just lari-lari kat dalam pentas, kacau-kacau orang, and then I was like, I even went to the director macam, tak nak bagi dialogue kat saya, kan? And at that time, my dad was like, oh no, I'm not going to give my son this opportunity again. Macam dia ni demanding sangat. But then maybe after that, I realised that I have the interest of performing on stage. Tapi tak ada ambil apa-apa bahagian atau macam participate sendiri lepas tu. Not until saya darjah 5 ke darjah 6, I don't remember. Tiba-tiba randomly a teacher came to me and asked me to join kelab kebudayaan. And then I joined. Lepas tu lagilah aktif dalam kelab tu, and then sampailah ke sekolah menengah, and bila habis sekolah I joined university, and then after that I venture more to project outside of my university. So yeah, I started way back since I was darjah 9 tahun.
So ada apa dengan lakonan that korang macam berminat untuk berlakon lah in the first place? Macam apa puncanya ataupun apa keseronokan ke yang menyebabkan korang cuba untuk berlakon, ataupun apa kenapa nak berlakon tu lah. Do you, dan adakah bila dah start berlakon tu ada rasa seronok ke macam mana? Apa perasaannya bila berlakon? Siapa-siapa nak jawab dulu boleh?
For me, sebab the intention nak join acting workshop sebab saya memang nak tahu apa proses aktor-aktor lain yang buat dia orang like
you mute tengah jalan.
You work on your I mean singing is like singing, you work on your vocal cord. Dancing, you work on your moves. So I was really curious about how actors go about it. So I signed up the acting workshop, and then the first day actually we were given like an exercise to do, like just like a simple scene with a fellow student. And then I feel like I have like intellectual orgasm. Like I'm so into that moment that I pun tak tahu macam mana nak explain, but it was like so, because we are so into that moment and everything is like so real, and I feel like an intellectual orgasm then. And then after that I actually wanted to chase macam cari balik that feeling I had that moment. Coincidentally was the first day of my workshop. Yeah, it actually it started that way. But sebab lepas tu the more project I get involved in, I found pleasure in other aspect lah, like macam rehearsal. Sometimes it's a process of creativity. You found out something new. You work with other people. You found out something new, and then macam I really like doing homework and rehearsals, and I feel like it's like the process that I like. Yeah, it's like macam you buat painting and then first stroke, second stroke, something like that.
Sandee, did you had like a professional training macam in acting, macam what did you study macam tu?
Well, my bachelor's was in electrical engineering, so sangat lain. Tapi like at my university or the system, dia ada minor, so I did a minor in theater, and then there's something called the Honors College. So I did a membership. I was a member of the Honors College yang dapat dia ada macam their focus is like macam liberal arts education lah. So it was like kind of covered everything, because I think when bila sekolah that time I was like strength was memang math and science, tapi I was very into language, tapi my language skills is 6:30. And tapi I've always been interested dari kecil lah, song and dance and like theater. And then when you tanya it's like apa yang minat dengan like berlakon, I'm wondering whether it also stems from reading storybooks. Like when I was young, I like to read like, you know, Enid Blyton and all that, and then you feel like you are part of that story and stuff like that. Then also it's like when I was young, I used to like to watch like Disney cartoons, and then there's always like, you know, music and stuff like that. So so I've been active since like kecil from sekolah. Tapi I didn't know whether I've got what it takes to be an actor, or like why should I be an actor? I'm not very good at memorizing. Language is not my greatest skill. So then at that time, tak tahu buat apa, so I did engineering because it was just, my dad was saying it's like it teach you problem solving skills. So I thought, okay lah. And then it's like electrical is like, we're in a modern age, we definitely need like electricity, so might as well just go there. But then I kind of kept taking sort of workshops on the side. So I did like a summer school at AADA, is called, I think, American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York when I was in school. And then I did the minor in theater. There's like acting, there's like, you have to take also a semester in all the like sort of technical areas, one semester in costume, lighting and all that. But then I got especially interested in lighting, and so I kind of when I started like when I came back to KL and like looking for jobs and opportunities, I kind of went on that 2 tracks looking for So and then after that, did workshops on the side throughout from City Company, Meisner, David Glass, semua tu lah. But that's where, if there is, it's like through that.
Okay, cool. So macam untuk, Roshafiq, I think kita macam, I think I know a bit lah, ada latar belakang pelakon tu. Ada banyak stage production that you were involved. So I'm curious dengan dengan Ani, dengan Hazel yang mana mungkin baru saja menceburkan diri atau mungkin kalau compare dengan lagi yang dengan Roshafiq, Shu Ni, dengan Sandee. So macam mana boleh terlibat dalam berlakon ni?
Okay, I rasa kalau for me, right, macam interesting case sikit sebab I mula daripada debut dengan Ridwan sebab masa tu untuk teater modular dekat Kongsi KL. So I bermula sebagai penonton. So that was a really interesting story lah, I think kan. As a penonton, then I was actually diajak oleh Ridwan untuk try berlakon under him. So he debuted as a director, me and Syam debut as actor masa tu. So masa tu memang, I mean we took a lot of classes, go for a lot of workshops and everything, tapi tak pernah nak go for auditions or whatever because I seorang yang penakut and not really confident. But when the time Ridwan actually ajak, we were in Bali. We were on vacation in Bali, and then that request or that that betapa seronoknya lah I get from Ridwan that ajak tu berlakon sekali. So and minat nak explore from there was really really big after that because I mula tamak because every time Ridwan ada something je I would always raise my hand. And the thing is because working with Ridwan is actually quite simple, and because he's very unique for me as a director and as someone who is not that disciplined of an actor, I think, but willing to try most of the time. So yeah.
Okay. Bedok, Ani, boleh share sikit?
Okay, untuk saya dia macam secara tak sengaja lah. Saya datang daripada Kelantan, macam sangat daerah yang sangat tak appreciate hiburan kan, atau tak menghargai hiburan. So saya tak ada idea lah sangat tentang teater, tapi sebab saya masa tu saya suka sastra, saya dapati banyak teks teater bagus secara sastranya. So saya suka kita dah baca Tiko Kodok semua tu kan, dah baca kita dah kenal semua masa tu kat kampung, tapi kita tak ada idea mana kita nak jadi pelakon. So saya masuk ATM sebagai pelajar writing. So, saya masa tu pun tak fikir untuk jadi pelakon sebab saya cuma suka untuk pergi tonton teater. Macam saya pergi je tengok semua teater sebab saya nak tengok mana dialog yang hebat tu. Saya suka tengok, kalau dialog yang hebat dia buatkan saya rasa macam penuh kan. Filem perasaan tu sangat ni. So saya masa tu saya dapati banyak teater yang skripnya kurang. So saya dan sekumpulan rakan dekat Perdana UiTM tu, orang pun macam cari skrip yang bagus lah untuk dipentaskan. Masa tu saya just organize kan. Dengan Sabtu tu macam apa skrip yang bagus kita akan organize sebab kita macam nak, saya sebenarnya macam personal sebab saya nak tengok dialog yang best, bukan saya nak jadi pelakon. Tapi masa tu pun dah join short film pun tu, saya tak pernah willing untuk berlakon, cuma diajak kan. saya sedar masa kat puncak tu, mostly student muka dia bersih kan. Masa tu saya rasa saya je muka garang kan. Jadi ada keperluan untuk muka garang dalam filem. Saya banyaklah dapat walaupun saya tak minta kan. Sebab muka kita macam ada watak serta macam watak jahat ke, orang gila ke, bapak ke. Dia perlukan muka-muka yang sangat mature lah kan. Masa tu student banyak muka yang sangat remaja lah. Walaupun tanpa ni saya dapat lah terlibat beberapa tu. Lepas tu saya pun dapat juga dengan Saat Omar. Sebab Saat Omar pun watak orang tua. Mungkin masa tu saya sesuai lah tu. Ketua kampung lah. Lepas tu dengan Ridwan.
Okay, interesting. Boleh kita I think berdua nak mute. Kita nak apa? Nak tengok sejarah penglibatan semua performer ni dalam projek-projek yang kita Moka Mocha Ink dan Ridwan punya yang mereka pernah terlibat lah. So saya nak cuba share screen. Okay, kejap share. Okay, dapat tak? Dah? Okay. So paling awal sekali Aziz pernah terlibat dengan filem pendek Filem. So ini kebanyakannya okay, so kita dalam contoh dalam jadual ni kita tengok yang F2 filem tapi semuanya filem pendek sebelum ataupun ada selepas sikit lah yang projek kita yang sekarang ni Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. So jadi yang paling awal sekali bekerjasama yang terlibat dengan Ridwan adalah Aziz pada tahun 2016. So yang ni adalah satu filem pendek dan kemudian Aziz okay, pada 2018 ni lah kita baru start kejap, actually kan I missed out satu show. Tak, sorry, I was teringat 2017 ada Roshafiq pernah terlibat dengan teater modular tapi bukan under pengarahan Ridwan. So Ridwan debut mengarah teater dari 2018. So 2018 ni agak prolific lah untuk Moka Mocha Ink dengan Ridwan sendiri. Kita ada banyak projek yang kita persembahkan kepada audiens. Jadi ini ada daripada awal kita ada pengantin freestyle, Setara Gamai, Hotel Berdarah, Matinya Seorang Birokrat, pengantin freestyle lagi. Okay, ni ada. Dan di hujung tahun paling last sekali untuk tahun 2018 Roshafiq perform dekat Singapore dengan satu monolog ke monodrama. Kisah lelaki yang mendapat pencerahan setelah kasutnya dicuri di masjid pada suatu petang. Ini ada satu projek, salah satu projek daripada Teater Kaos Nol di Singapura. Dan kemudian kita ada 2019 kita baru start bekerjasama dengan, I think ni baru first time kita bekerjasama dengan Shu Ni. Dan Shu Ni start perform dengan Moka Mocha Ink untuk Ophelia Maldoro. Dan Tasha debut dalam filem juga dengan Sisa Binasa yang kemudian menang. Dan akhir sekali tahun ni kita ada Tiada Cinta Selama Muda dan sebelum pre-COVID punya PKP ni, pre-COVID punya situasi ni kita ada teater Masa Manis di mana kita ada Shu Ni berlakon dua watak dalam cerita tu. Dan ada dua filem dan untuk Sandee ada satu yang agak special juga sebab yang ni Erti Mati ni adalah dari skrip teater tapi kita buat dia kita filmkan dalam satu siri yang kita panggil Teater Atas Meja. Dan ini yalah, jadi dia berbeza sikit dengan play yang lain lah. Okay, itu saja. Okay, dan sekarang mungkin kita boleh pergi ke soalan yang kita nak masuk ke dunia Tiada Cinta Selama Muda dululah, sebab sebab kita tak boleh nak dive into sangat lah, sebab audience kita mungkin ada yang tak tengok lagi, rasanya ramai yang belum tengok, antara kita je lah yang dah tengok kan. Roshafiq dengan Shu Ni belum, tak sempat nak tengok lagi. Tapi mungkin sebab kita punya topik kita ni macam kita nak tengok perbezaan dia lah. Memang semestinya ada perbezaan antara screen dengan stage. Jadi mungkin antara yang first kita nak tahu macam mana pengalamannya, macam korang punya bila bekerja dengan Ridwan, apa perbezaan dia bila buat filem dengan dekat stage, sebab semua pun dah pernah involve kan dengan dua-dua medium ni. Siapa nak start? Silakan. Shu.
Ya. Kalau tak ada pandemik ini, memang saya tak terfikir nak buat filem, sebab I memang macam set my mind, theater is what I love. So pandemic kan. So lepas the lockdown, so actually sebelum lockdown, during the rehearsal of Masa Manis, I rasa macam Ridwan pernah sebut like he has a project in his mind yang pasal with the theme of love, you know. So I heard about it, but then after, I think in June, then we actually like meet up and really want to do it. So I tak pernah buat film. And then the first day of shooting is actually dekat pantai, and it involved a lot of like choreography. So it was really nerve-wracking, like sebab it's like a long macam long take. How many minutes of that take? But
ada beberapa
really
lah.
long.
Very
long, one take and one take. So
the long take.
So the problem is that I'm not really, sebab kalau stage we know like have more better sense of space. But I know that I'm being shot in a frame, and I really don't know like how to maneuver, like how to place myself or what. So I buat je lah.
Untuk Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni, is it your first time macam acting for camera?
Yeah. It was first time. So, but the thing is, sebelum ni saya memang tak boleh watch myself in film. I cannot watch back myself. It's very cringy. But because of this, I have to force myself to rewatch. So I was very thankful because I can actually rewatch what was being shot, and then make improvement or adjustment on it. So I think that really helped me to get over that I can't watch myself, and then like I think this is also the pros of film, that we can see on the spot our performance.
So macam so kita dah nampak lah ada kelebihan bila kita buat filem, kita boleh tengok balik. Jadi macam Roshafiq sendiri pernah buat filem. So how do you macam ada tak bila berlakon tu nak kena ada rasa nak tengok balik tu? Maybe let me rephrase. Bila berlakon filem, you get to see yourself again, boleh tengok balik kan. Jadi macam bila dekat stage tu ada rasa macam mana, macam proses dia, macam kita nak tahu kita punya kita punya praktis melakonkan tu lah.
Right. I think for both experience, I memang kalau boleh nak tengok how I did it, regardless if it's a stage or a film. So that is a privilege. Bila you act on camera, you get to see, how did you do it. But for theater, tak semestinya. But then whenever someone comes or the production record the performance, I get excited to see it lah, because I finally get to see it. So maybe in terms of this, we can consider film has that privilege for the actor to look back how they perform, but theater tak boleh kan.
Sandee, so macam bila dalam praktis lakonan kot, mungkin kalau if you know a bit like if you study acting, ada tak kita mesti nak tahu, mungkin kita ada lakonan depan cermin untuk tahu apa yang kita deliver dekat orang kan, sebab kita kita macam ada tak kita belajar, ada tak pelakon belajar ataupun diajarkan macam mana untuk yalah berlakon ni. So macam tu, macam mana?
I think bila like belajar or like orang yang mengajar acting ada banyak approaches dengan filosofi kan. So ada yang we always say that just a general like either inside out or outside in, tapi like at the end you want the outside and the inside to also come together. But the starting point, some people is very internal. You go like, I will study the character first. What is the psychology of this person? All that, I want to feel things. So a lot of inside out. And then how do you then transfer it into something that can be seen on the outside as well? And then tapi ada yang lain, it's like outside in. They might do the shape of the body first. Or it's about putting on a hat or something like that. And then yang tengok cermin tu is also like two different, like also not too different, like different people also have like different sort of point of view about that. So like Shu, I also like, I get cringy like watching videos of myself or like hearing. I think audio is even scarier. It's like, I think I'm a bit insecure of my voice maybe for the longest time as an actor. And then so like performing in front of, like, where there are some people who would actually create the whole and try to see it on the mirror. But like for me, sometimes it's like that can also backfire for some people because it make you more self-conscious. And then at the end of the day, because when you're doing it, sometimes I feel like, okay, if you pay too much attention on like also the shape of it, you get the shape, tapi you don't get the feel. So then it's like, I don't know, for me it's like I campur, and it depends on which side. So sometimes it's inside in, outside out, inside out, outside in, and stuff like that. But some people are a bit more like, specific. So things like tengok mirror is like dancers because it's very form based. So musical actors also maybe that, because your dance, you want to make it the shape. But then maybe sometimes you would do that if you want to some people do it if they want to see, let's say they got they want to see how their body is for certain characters. But some people, they don't want to do that because they want to make sure it comes from the inside out. Because you can make the shape, but do you know where it's coming from? So for example, like sometimes people say olden days people sit up straight, but yes, it's different. It's like, but once you put on a corset, how does that make you feel? And then you go from there, and sometimes you will adjust from that. Or like if you feel confident, you will stand confident. So instead of you making yourself confident, it's like, otherwise you're just like, okay, you're a shape that is stiff and, but it doesn't seem to like come from anywhere. But if you say you're psychological, that means some people feel like, the psychological affects the physical. So there's also that. So there's like banyak lah tengok orang.
Yeah. Okay, so Hazel, yang I think macam banyak juga yang you've been acting dengan under Ridwan punya direction. So macam mana, ada beza tak, ataupun macam apa pengalaman ataupun pengalamannya lah, ada perbezaan kalau masa didirect untuk filem dengan untuk stage?
Kalau for me personally, I rasa kalau macam dalam filem, it's a bit senang, clear cut in the sense kalau kita buat je benda tu and then you just don't know whether it's gonna be edited or not in the film. And then you are able to do a lot of takes masa filem. Tapi if you tapi kalau if for me personally, I really like more into theatre because I think dunia dia lebih jiwa lah. So tapi in terms of Ridwan punya direction, okay, kalau macam dalam teater, he likes to play with the lightings and then Johnny Atari songs and all that. Dalam segi perfilman pula, it's something different lah. Dunia dia agak different tapi masih kekal dengan Ridwan punya direction sendiri, if that makes sense.
Sorry, mungkin adalah perbezaan dia antara masa dia direct untuk stage dengan masa filem. So Ani started off dengan Roti Tisu tu kan. Dia satu filem pendek. Itu macam antara yang terawal berlakon filem ke macam mana? Under Ridwan lah terutamanya.
Oh, sebelum kalau under Ridwan, masa tu dapat saya dengan Ridwan lah. Sebelum tu dah join banyak short film dekat ATM. So tentang perbezaan lah kan. Rasa ini macam ada konflik sebenarnya aktor dengan pengarah kan. Sebab filem dia Ridwan yang akan decide final kan. So aktor yang akan tentukan kan. Ridwan boleh suruh macam-macam ni, tapi at the end kita yang akan buat di hujung show kan. Maknanya saya rasa semua aktor akan suka teater lah kot, sebab kita yang akan tentukan malam show tu. Ridwan bagi tahu awal banding filem kan. Di filem kita tahu akhirnya Ridwan yang akan tentukan di hujung tu. Tapi yang satu antara filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda lah, saya fokus pada saya lihat cara penceritaan yang dibuat Ridwan. Dia menarik juga sebab dia mau lebih pada spontanan kan. Sebab satu tu Ridwan ajak pergi Ricky je kan, macam jom kita pergi KL, kita pergi Ricky. So saya okey lah, saya tak prepare pun pasal acting ke apa kan, sebab kita nak pergi Ricky kan. Kita macam pergi Ricky sambil lepak kan. So, saya ikut lah macam tak pergi, tapi kita pergi. Lepas tu Ridwan macam terus shoot, macam kena berlaku. Saya macam kita nak kena buat apa kan, sebab dia sangat dia spontan. Kalau teater adalah buat macam tu lah. Teater kan show sekian-sekian, so kita akan prepare dari awal. So itu macam saya kena buat apa, macam itu menarik jugalah dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni. Saya tak tahu sebab ini macam tak follow narrative sangat, so dia lebih ada spontan. Kadang-kadang masa turun shoot pun saya pun Ridwan ada bagi cakap ini kita akan buat macam ni. Saya pun tak tahu nak kena buat macam mana sebab set hari shoot pun kita kan agak susah lah untuk saya sebab saya suka kat preparation tu, tapi mencabar. Tiada Cinta Selama Muda bagi saya mencabar. Dia macam kind of saya tak pernah cuba sebelum ni.
Okay, menarik. So benda nak mute. Okay, kita nak masuk lagi lah ke dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni. So kita start penggambaran ni bila kita di kala pandemik ni sedang berleluasa lah. Kita mula shoot ni bulan Jun, akhir Jun. Jadi I was wondering macam dalam pada kita berdepan dengan pandemik ni, kenapa korang macam setuju untuk to get involved untuk perform dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda?
Well, it's obvious. Kita tak ada benda nak buat. There's nothing to do. And you terperap kat dalam rumah. You always want to create, nak berkarya. And then when Ridwan gave you the chance, that's the only answer, say yes. And it's Ridwan who offer it kan. Yeah.
Ni macam nak minta job lagi ke?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, tapi yang lain sebab kita shoot masa tu masih ada kes yang masih banyak lah ataupun kita masih mungkin dalam fasa yang first ke second macam tu. Jadi ada tak apa-apa sebab masa tu teater apa-apa pementasan yang dah agak kurang lah. Jadi kita buat filem sebab kita tak dapat nak buat pementasan. So sementara dalam pada kita nak buat tu, ada tak apa-apa yang merisaukan ke, atau what are your concerns masa kita shoot filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni?
For me was memang actually from last year and this year I memang dah wanted to dabble more in film but didn't know how to get into it. So when Ridwan started doing this, I was like, yay! And then plus it's like in general, like Ridwan, like yeah, there are few like, you know, collaborators that usually if you guys are involved in something, I'm on for it lah. And then this one at the same time, like what is the script? What is the show going to be? That kind of thing. Well, it was one of those was like, okay, you learn that you work with Ridwan, you just kind of, or like, I think like the year before I was also doing a lot of device, that's like, and then this was also like device, you kind of learn like once you agreed to do a device show, you kind of, okay, have to trust the people on board and then go with the journey and see where it goes, and hopefully, you know, it comes up to something, yeah. So in terms of like, memang I was like, oh, I already wanted to dabble in films and was trying to do like some like casting before. And I think at that time when Ridwan started to do this, the numbers were starting to be under control then. Tapi at the same time, my parents who were like outstationed, they're Bali, and they are both, I'm living with them and they are like high risk punya orang. So it was like kind of that, like, okay, so then when we come in, we have social distance and there's a controlled number and tapi like that. But at the same time, when we are with each other, do we wear masks? How much social distance? What kind of what? And then when I come back, do I social distance from my parents? So to a certain extent, we kind of negotiate that. I think there was like one point I did kind of social distance, and you know, just to in case I did contracted anything. It was like a constant negotiation of that lah. So ada risau, tapi it's like also like not, because it's like, yeah, that was like something I've been wanting to explore tapi don't know how to like have more collaborators to explore it with.
Yeah. So bila bercakap tentang last year macam I think Sandee had a lot of device punya plays that you were involved. Tasha dengan siapa lagi? Mungkin yang pernah tak involved dalam apa-apa yang melibatkan devising punya teknik ni. So kita pada awalnya memang sebab untuk konteks lah, macam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni kita tak ada skrip sangat. Kita mungkin ada base tentang apa yang kita nak shoot lah, tapi kita tak ada skrip yang dialog. So kita lebih explore movement dan spontaneity lah, of course, yang tadi tu dia cakap sebab kita ada interview sikit macam tu. So macam Tasha ada pernah involve dalam Hazel pernah ada involve dalam device play sebelum ni ataupun experience yang macam lebih kurang macam ni lah?
Tak ada, because most of my work is memang dengan Ridwan. So it is very interesting lah. So I get to feel macam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda dia macam it's also like a theater in a film. So daripada situ bila Ridwan actually, kan Ridwan selalu like, you know, he will give like a piece of paper of what the theme is, and then so we built from there. So basically this one is more like macam the very first device for me lah. Yeah.
Shu pernah terlibat dalam devising punya play?
Actually, the first play that I got involved in, dia memang device. Sebab tu dia ambil masa 1 tahun, including from first meeting to show day is about 1 year. So we will meet like every single week. Every actor will have to write something, we will discuss something, we'll meet different people every week. Like every week has there memang other activities like every week for almost a year. So yeah, we also do like movement exploration. We ask the production actually asks a lot of like instructor to help us and stuff like that. In terms of Tiada Cinta Selama Muda and how to relate it into the pandemic, sebenarnya I'm someone who like to have structure sometimes, and especially like when during work, like can we have like a script, like do we have a schedule, do we know what we're going to do? But sebab pandemic ini and we spend masa lockdown kan, so I spend a lot of time like doing like macam reflection, like and also like because suddenly you macam free and you have to free, and then suddenly you're like very inspired and stuff, and then you actually start to slow down, and then you just let things happen because you can't do anything. You're at home and you just let whatever happening inside you, manifest. Maybe you write, maybe you listen to music, maybe you're reading. So I actually during that 3 months, I memang enjoyed that process. Like, just let things be. So when you guys asked us to work on this, and then actually it's just like a simple script, right? So I was very on board lah. Like, let's explore like what can happen. Just go around, like just shoot something and then see what's happened. Yeah.
Okay. Ada siapa nak tambah tentang Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni, macam yalah sebab kita memang masih berdepan dengan pandemik ni, so macam apa yang kita nak cuba buat dalam masa ni lah untuk kekalkan kita punya momentum sebagai, ataupun bukan kita lah, maksud saya korang lah sebagai performer, macam macam mana nak kekalkan momentum untuk masih berlakon ataupun buat sesuatu lah dengan praktis ni.
I start macam pinjam kamera kawan saya. They play around camera, yeah.
Okay, mungkin kita dah masukkan kat dalam mungkin kita dah nampak sikit lah perbezaan antara skrin dengan pentas. Jadi mungkin nak check lagi lah, nak tengok lagi lah apa yang korang rasa yang boleh macam mana nak cakap
Well, maybe to help is like I can add to just now we were talking about you tanya kan, it's like what we were feeling when we wanted, when you guys approached us to do Tiada Cinta, and then during the pandemic and all that kind of thing. The other thing was because last year was so much device for me, and then I came from a like scripted background kind of person, and interest in theatre was scripted based stuff lah. So it was like, oh crap, it's going to be like another continuation of like device lagi, and I was like eager to like, nice to have a script where you can focus on a character and then explore that one character. But because this was the setup for Tiada Cinta, it was also with film, I guess, and then it's like device. There was always like this constant with theater, I guess it's because it's very live, so your body and you're there, and then other people may be lighting and all that. You explore. I feel like in the sense of like with film, maybe like when you're devising, you're also exploring like the framing of it, the lighting. If you put it close, you put it far. We work, and then you can try like different takes about it, and then also like how do you combine takes, and combine maybe like from this point of view to that point of view, versus like with theatre, it is, I guess it all involves like some level of performance and technical, tapi dia punya sort of procedure or what you can play with is lain sikit lah. Yeah. So like for example, we explore that very close up punya body parts, you know, things like that you can really explore going very, very, very ultra close. That you in theatre, it's the opposite, and dia selalu macro.
Yeah, and the question of device film itself is something very, very new. It's not something that's very common. And it's not for me. Because the idea of device performance is always, we imagine it to be a live performance, device theatre, but this is a device film. And I always wanted to do device with Ridwan because semenjak dia tulis blog pemahaman songsang device dalam masyarakat Malaysia ni kan, and I memang setuju because whenever I go to a device performance, it's always, the process is always about the actor punya perjalanan hidup yang dia pernah lalui, and then dia akan lakonkan semula ataupun dia akan luahkan. It's all about, you know, diri sendiri. So sampai kan at that time, because I didn't know anything about it, not until Ridwan wrote the blog, so I thought, oh, this is device play. So since then I'm not really interested to venture towards it. And ada kan sampai kan I would meet actors who would say that, oh, I'm a device actor. This is how I act. I can only use whatever I have. I tak boleh berlakon orang lain. I'm a device actor. So sampai kan I ada macam satu tanggapan yang I tak suka about device performance. When I read one explain it, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's not actually like that. So I'm okay then, jom. It was supposedly hujung tahun lepas ataupun dalam tahun ni kita akan ada buat device project sama-sama with Ridwan kan, Tasha, right? So Tasha was kind of like macam handle benda tu lah kot kan. So macam okay, I nak join because I nak try. Tapi tak ada rezeki sebabkan malapetaka yang berlaku ni. Jadi kita buat device film. So like Aizam kata, we had a script kan. But what maybe people don't know, we actually all the actors and performers, we get to sit together in a circle and we get to write together. We get to devise. And masa tu I perasan, oh, we are devising. We are creating something, and it is not something that is macam self punya benda, you know, macam oh, this is mine. But no, you know, we write something and then we're going to give it to other people, and that people will expand it, and then after that we are going to receive someone wrote, and we are going to expand it, and it's a collective work. And this is what devise means: everyone collectively contributing and expanding the idea, giving and expanding together. Actors, lighting designers, cinematographers, directors, everyone is devising. So yeah, that was very interesting experience for me. Yeah.
Mungkin Bedok boleh try cakap sikit pasal proses kita lah dalam buat filem ni. Sebab I think Bedok macam Ani tak pernah involved dalam device punya performance juga kan. So jadi macam mana proses, mungkin boleh mungkin kita boleh, sebab Roshafiq pun macam dah ada explain sikit tadi apa yang kita buat dalam, semua pun macam dah cakap sikit lah apa yang kita buat untuk filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni. So untuk Ani sendiri macam mungkin apa proses yang kita lalui semasa kita buat filem ni?
Saya macam orang suka dengan device. Awal-awal macam memang saya bukan actor device tu, sebab device memerlukan kemahiran lain. Saya prefer dialog sebab saya ada sesuatu yang boleh dipegang. Tapi yang menarik dengan Cinta Selama Muda, sebab dia macam journey kita dalam mencari mana keremajaan tu. Dia macam instead of fikir macam mana kita nak bergerak, tapi macam daripada soalan kemudahan terhadap diri sendiri tu. Saya tak rasa macam, saya tak rasa saya sedang bebas lah. Saya rasa macam mana kita hidup. Sebab saya tak pernah fikir macam mana nak berlakon secara bebas. Saya masa dalam tu proses dia, saya macam kalau Ridwan tanya macam mana saya fikir tentang soalan-soalan jadi muda, remaja semua, dia just macam tu. Device macam tak tahu, sebab dia macam kita kena cari konsep akhir kan. Macam dah ada benda dalam cerita Selama Muda, tapi kita macam lebih pada menyelongkar dalam sudut-sudut lain tu lah.
Anybody, okay, sepanjang, okay, siapa macam ada scene-scene yang bukanlah kegemaran sangat, macam mungkin yang ingat lah sepanjang kita masa proses membuat masa kita filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda, ada tak proses yang menarik, yang ingat sampai sekarang? Hazel?
I paling ingat satu scene yang kita semua involve, yang won't have behind the scene, which is yang paling sensual sekali dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda lah. Sebab scene tu semua orang was there, had to do everything, and then the camera just move from skateboard. That was really amazing for me. That sampai sekarang I just love it. Sebab I kena urut beduk kan.
Oh, scene rumah urut.
Itu best. Tasha tangan dia lembut sikit kan. Tak rasa tapi lembut. Tapi saya suka dekat sebab saya punya scene lah. Saya punya scene, saya suka yang saya dengan Hanan kat pantai tu. Rasa sebab fashion lah kot. Masa dia just repeat satu pergerakan. Tapi kita macam mencuba fashion dengan pakai spek. Kita macam bawah sinar matahari pantai kan. Saya rasa seronok lah time tu. Dia sangat berwarna, dia sangat pop semua ni. Macam dalam filem Moka Mocha Ink pun ada.
Okay, sebab kita dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni, dia lebih sebab kita tak ada skrip sangat. Tapi kita ada, setiap orang kita ada interview lah. Jadi itu satu ataupun macam mana nak cakap, satu bahagian yang semua akan perlu keluarkan kata-kata. Jadi itu ada satu mungkin kalau yang lebih prefer scripted, yang mungkinlah untuk berdialog, untuk mengeluarkan suara. Selain daripada daripada dialog dan mengeluarkan kata-kata ni, kita juga ada gerakan, dan memang banyak scene yang kita buat adalah tentang gerakan. Jadi macam mana macam korang macam ada rasa nak balance kan, ataupun bukan nak balance kan lah, ada perbezaan antara gerakan, ada tak yang tak pernah buat gerakan performance tentang performance yang lebih movement based lah, macam mana perbandingannya lah antara gerakan dengan mengeluarkan kata-kata tu?
Saya tak pernah, saya rasa saya tak terlibat dengan mana-mana scene gerakan kot dalam filem ni. Maksudnya berdialog dengan interview. Tapi kalau nak bandingkan pengalaman performing, saya pernah involved in performance yang hanya libatkan movement. Tapi bila part interview tu, saya rasa kancong sebab dia nak kena satu jawapan yang macam terus apa yang ada kat kepala, dia tak scripted. So bagi saya yang interview tu susah sikit sebab saya susah nak bercakap. Susah nak keluarkan whatever in my mind. Lepas tu I think kita ada macam soalan-soalan macam apakah itu sakti, apakah itu apa kata kan, benda-benda macam tu. So and you know, my partner would immediately ask without us planning, and bila dia tanya macam saya tak tahu. Apa kata itu, saya tak tahu. So it was pretty hard for me, but interesting about the interview is the sincerity lah kot. I think itu yang Ridwan nak dapatkan dalam interview tu. Kalau you tak faham, you cakap je tak faham. Kalau you tak tahu, cakap je tak tahu. Yeah.
So macam bila kita cakap pasal acting ni, salah satunya dia punya dia ada sejarah dia daripada dia macam ada akar dia daripada literature ataupun sesuatu. Jadi bila kita dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni, macam kita ada perkataan-perkataan yang kita cuba rungkaikan ataupun kita cuba cari definition baru ataupun definition yang sedia ada. Jadi macam dari sejarah, macam mungkin kalau ada yang lebih mendalami literature tu, macam mana korang menjawab soalan-soalan yang kita ada tanya tu lah. Sebagai contoh, macam dalam dalam filem ni kita ada beberapa perkataan yang kita tanya kepada semua performer untuk dijawab, untuk diberikan definition ataupun apa yang diorang faham tentang perkataan tu. Tapi ada perkataan-perkataan yang tak digunakan sangat. Macam sebagai contoh, siapa tahu perkataan mestika atau apa itu mestika. Jadi macam mana korang, macam sebagai aktor, macam kita selain membaca, selain berlakon, kita pun macam perlu ada background yang membaca tu lah untuk lebih explore. So macam mana? Yang dari segi itulah.
Itulah dia reveal yang I tak cukup membaca lah bila buat benda tu kan.
Tapi dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda, ini yang saya rasa fresh dalam sinema Malaysia sekarang ni, perkataan dia. Sebab kita tak pernah bereksperimen dengan visual dah banyak kan, tapi macam Ridwan dalam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda, dia bereksperimen dengan bahasa. Itu saya tak rasa, dia filem Melayu, kalau dia filem English kan kita tengok kan, tapi dalam filem Melayu macam bermain dengan bahasa Melayu. Saya rasa itu sangat eksperimentasinya terhadap filem tu, yang saya rasa sepanjang yang saya tengok filem dia semuanya mostly dialog dia realism atau logik lah, dia ikut dialog standard industrial semua kan. Dan Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni datang, dia boleh datang daripada mitos, dia boleh datang kan, mitos, dia boleh datang dia tak terikat dengan realisme. Itu saya rasa Cinta Selama Muda agak ada ada idea baru yang cuba nak menerokai permainan bahasa. Itu menarik lah.
Ada Sandee nak respon?
For me, it was like I suka in the sense of there's a sort of theatre punya exercise is something called like word association. So I always suka, memang best lah. Tapi like at that period of time, for some reason I didn't have like a lot of verbal expression, or like I don't know. In that time, maybe I was thinking a lot, and then I didn't have a lot of, at that period of time in general, not just during the shooting, I wasn't at a place that I was expressing verbally. So then I remember like Aizam was saying, it's like, hey, you can actually, tak payah, it doesn't have to be in perkataan. It can be a look, it can be and all this kind of thing. But then when I saw the playback or like what was put in, it looks like I was smiling a lot, but I remember like different times it was like different things happening in my eyes or what. But because so things like that, when we're talking about devising with or performing for a screen and for theater, and it's like theater, the I guess it's like whether it's a mid shot or a close up shot, it's stick. But this one was because it's like maybe certain things that would work for a close up shot, but that was a mid shot, so it looks, you know, certain things transferred and certain things didn't. And then also because but then the words wise was also, it was like a lot of words I've never heard, but they were very beautiful.
Yeah.
They were very beautiful. Yeah. So my response was like the sound of it, or like what it conjures, tapi, and so it was just a feeling, but I didn't have words to what, but it was like it memang whether it was quite accurate in my head what I thought it was. So there was stuff that was like kiamat that I apparently got it quite wrong, and then like mustika, and there's the mustika, and like all this that was like But they were very beautiful words. I'm glad that you put it in, and it's like we forget, like, you know, in Malaysia we always say, oh, nak memperkembangkan like bahasa Melayu or like membangunkan bahasa Melayu, tapi we don't do a lot of expression and I guess a lot of conversation in like the, like, you know, like the literature part of like bahasa Melayu kan, where you have all these words, they are so beautiful but we change it into the English words. Why? You know, but the words in bahasa Melayu cantik sangat.
Macam, so kita macam ada soalan kat ni. Okay, mungkin acting is reacting. So jadi adakah reacting terhadap bunyi words dari kamus juga satu bentuk lakonan?
Oh yes, itu satu very good question. I think because that's how I felt bila I did the interview. You know, because I dah biasa, I whenever I act with a partner or siapa-siapa, I would let my partner affect me. Hence, it would create some sort of a behavior, natural behavior from me, you know. So itulah saya kata, dia memang Ridwan nak that sincerity dalam interview tu. Jadi bila saya dengar, saya terima whatever word yang I tak pernah dengar, I akan terus macam tak ada nak buat tahu lah. I terus macam, that's how I reacted. I don't know about the word. Dia dan kalau ada word yang dapat yang macam it's a beautiful word, then you know we would immediately react accordingly lah to the word. I think it is. There is a reaction towards language.
Jadi ada sebab kita ada perkataan yang tak pernah didengar tu lah. Jadi bila kita tak tahu tu macam reaksinya memang berbagai-bagai lah. Jadi macam mana secara emosinya bila korang dengar perkataan tu ataupun selain daripada perkataan tu lah. So mungkin kita boleh teruskan dengan aksi-aksi yang kita buat dalam tu. Jadi macam mana korang dan juga dalam filem ni kita tak ada banyak karakter, kita tak ada karakter yang kita tetapkan, tapi kita ada pasangan-pasangan yang kita satukan. Jadi macam mana korang menjadi karakter tu ataupun sebab dia on the spot ni banyak juga yang yang pada masa tu baru kita tentukan. Jadi macam mana tu?
Betul. Macam saya dipasangkan dengan pasien kan. Ada scene saya dekat dalam bilik hotel tu, it was something yang I tak tahu who am I going to say this dialogue. I received the script earlier, tapi saya tak tahu siapa saya akan bercakap. I thought it's going to be with Tasha. I thought it's going to be with Farah, but suddenly I dipasangkan dengan Pesian. Jadi kita tak tahu, kita tak rehearse apa-apa. Kita terus Ridwan terus put us in the same room and then roll the camera. Itulah dia terus menjadi satu behavior yang natural bila saya dengan Pesian. And no one is trying to impress anyone dekat dalam scene tu. I was not trying to impress Pesian was not trying to impress me. We was just saying out our dialogue. And surprisingly, it turns out so well. It's actually one of my favorite scenes that I get to shoot because of that, because the outcome yang dapat. I have no idea who is this person. I know any professional relationship with Pesian, never act with her before, never talk with her or like a small talk with her before. Suddenly we were planted in the scene together, and what came out was very natural.
Yeah, so it was actually
Go ahead.
So it was eliminating any anticipation, so it was very raw.
Yeah,
so,
it was very minor. Killing off the anticipation.
Yes. So it's like no matter what, in that situation, you just adapt to it and more towards the feeling that you really want to convey to someone, or you have had that feeling before. So the rawness was really, really helpful in the sense that to create an atmosphere and to drive us towards that feeling.
And then how Ridwan made it so comfortable for everyone. Kan? I just know the other day that I think you told me that Patience was not a acting background person, kan?
So
but didn't felt that way, maybe because of the environment and everyone was so comfortable with each other.
So
ada satu part dengan saya dengan Patient, dia macam spontan juga lah, sebab sepatutnya Farid yang bawa itu. So Farid tidur itu lah. Saya duduk kat sebelah tengah baring kan. So macam tidur, kawan pergi buat. Saya macam, lepas tu Patient kan macam Chinese kan. Saya dia punya tas kena cakap apa yang aku rindu. Dia menarik lah sebab kita macam bertembung dalam dua bahasa atau dua kefahaman kan. Macam apa makna rindu dalam katakan secara subconscious dalam Melayu, dan apa makna rindu dalam katakan Patient daripada Chinese punya bahasa kan. Menarik sebab kita macam saling bertukar kefahaman apa makna. Itu saya rasa sesuatu yang best lah.
So tak, I nak tanya ni macam so bila korang dah pernah terlibat dalam performance dekat stage lah. Jadi bila kita nak any production pun kita akan ada sparring partner baru ataupun nak start baru dengan pelakon lain yang kita tak kenal. Jadi bila dalam macam mana kita nak start nak build that relationship dengan pelakon-pelakon yang dengan partner ataupun dengan rakan lakon yang lain tu lah. Sebab yang of course dalam yang Tiada Cinta tadi macam Roshafiq ada bagi contoh, Bedok pun ada bagi contoh macam kita tak pernah berlakon dengan orang tu tapi tiba-tiba dia macam kita terpaksa berlakon dan terutamanya untuk dalam filem ni macam dia lebih spontan, jadi dia kena lebih cepat tu. So macam mana korang overcome ataupun macam mana, apa caranya untuk untuk berlakon dengan orang tu?
Okay, I think dia macam kalau soalan ni dia kena tengok macam-macam jenis I tak tahu lah konteks ke apa, tetapi kalau a normal production either you are going to meet dua-dua you tak pernah bekerja sama, but either you're going to meet an experienced actor or a non-experienced actor. And normally it is easier to, of course, work with an experienced actor lah kan, because we get the gist of it, we know what he's going to do next, regardless what kind of method that he's going to use. But then with a non-experienced actor, it's always going to be a bit harder to work with. But however, with Ridwan, macam I punya contoh tadi, that was not my first time being partnered with a non-experienced actor, atau I tak tahu apa nak cakap lah kan, but maybe a non-experienced performer maybe. That was not my first time. I have experienced it in Ridwan's theatre production, but somehow dia tak susah. Itu mungkin kerana how the environment was built, yang oleh Ridwan dan tenaga produksi. Jadi dia tak susah untuk saya dan dia tak susah juga untuk pelakon baru tu. Itu untuk saya punya experience lah.
Saya tetap peduli sebenarnya nak approach lakon saya tu. Saya macam tak perlu benda tu. Chemistry ni macam tak boleh nak dipaksa-paksa. Dia kalau bertemu je bertemu. Kalau tak bertemu maknanya memang kita antara lakon tu tak ada chemistry. Kita tak boleh nak dia kena training dia macam latihan, macam ada satu perasaan halus tu yang akan menemukan benda tu. Tapi point dia kena rajin buat latihan lah, sebab mesti kita kena cari rhythm sama. Kita tak boleh macam cuba untuk inilah kita cara tu. Saya memang sentiasa akan buat tense lah. Belakang saya akan buat serius. Dan saya cuba cari jalan keluar untuk bertemu dengan lakon tu lah.
Macam mana? Because sebelum ni macam so untuk yang ni it's your first experience lah, tapi masa dalam untuk filem lah, so masa macam mana secepatnya you had a scene with Sandee kan, macam mana secepatnya you macam proses untuk ada connection tu ataupun untuk berlaku untuk perform dalam scene tu. What's your process lah masa untuk dapatkan
memang kena open to your scene partner lah for me, yeah lah. Especially in such a short time, so memang kena focus and really trust your scene partner. I feel I'm very lucky because yang the whole cast and also the team in Tiada Cinta Selama Muda is very open. They're very baik sangat lah you orang semua. Like even from Aizam, Ridwan, very accommodating, very understanding, and yang very liberating when I work with the team. So when I work with Sandee also, Sandee is very accommodating and very supporting. So yeah, of course I pun pernah work with someone that yang macam tak connect kan. But with Sandee, like I feel myself, I connect with her. Yeah, like in my previous experience, if I feel like that connect, then I have to really like work through the not connection and maybe talk to her or listen to her or reacting to that person, like accommodating something. I'm a more like accommodating type. But with Sandee, it's about she's very open and easy to work with. So I think that really helps a lot, like in a short time and without script, without rehearsal. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Sandee?
For me, the whole experience was already new. Or it felt new, or like you don't know what's gonna happen, and then because with each scene also, it's like, yeah, you did. Okay, we're gonna meet here. What we're gonna do? I'm not quite sure. So it was already, in general, it's new. You know, so whether, and then Shu looks very comfortable on, camera or performing in front of the camera. In fact, I was like, she feels even more comfortable than I am, like, or more comfortable with it than I am. So like the whole process was already like, you don't know what you're gonna expect. So it all felt like new anyway, regardless, and or like you don't know what you're gonna be. So you're always can only be open and interested and curious, and then to play with it and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think in terms of also like talking about like scripted or other character, and then the challenge, because this was like I think one of the things devising with this one was also because it was from the beginning. Ridwan also said didn't know whether the characters are going to carry forward or carry through. Sorry, but there was one thing he wanted to explore was also just at least the dynamics of relationship at different ones. So it's like in general, sometimes when you're put together, you may not know that like what's the character history and all that, and you don't know whether it's going to be used and stuff, but you at least recognize like, okay, you're there with a loved one to discuss this, or you're going to be, it's the first time you've encountered this person. So all those dynamics, even if you take out like some of the big histories of who the character are and all that kind of thing, it's dynamics that sort of they're modular juga lah in its own sense. And then a lot of things was also you do not know because there's you and then there's the working with the cameraman, right? So the cameraman, like you do what you are, but then there's also like how it is shot and which side of you is going to be seen, or how close, how far. That one you don't really have total control, because that was also sort of being devised, or like the camera person is also feeling it as they're going along. Yeah, right. We have like chance to go back and forth and try that out. It's like, okay, when you do like that, when but yeah, that was like some of the things that you get to control. But there's also to a certain extent that it was also depending on, so many other moving parts.
Faham. So kita ada lagi 10 minit. Mungkin kita boleh, I think I have like one last question ataupun 1-2 lah. Dan mungkin kalau ada audience nak tanya, mungkin kita cepat je lah. Ada 1-2 soalan, kita boleh komen dan tanyakan soalan kepada siapa-siapa lah. Dan my second last question. Jadi mungkin betul lah, second last question. How does this experience ataupun filem ni lah secara generalnya help you to grow atau expand your practice as an actor? Siapa nak mula dulu?
For me, I really enjoy the experience about I feel like the freedom of creating. Sometimes kita macam terfikir banyak, like we restrict ourselves, like because we don't have enough budget, we don't have enough this and that, and then we like maybe it's not a really good idea, or maybe this is not the right time. But I feel like when we macam just go for it, and then of course it will be much more helpful if we have like good people around us and like a good team to work with. For me, the biggest thing that I actually realized is memang just if you have an idea, just try to do it instead of like macam limit yourself. And of course, in terms of acting, I have the chance to work with camera for the first time, and then I think I macam tak suka lah. Like I will try to work more in film and with camera. Yeah.
Bedok macam mana? Ada rasa akan teruskan berlakon setelah macam mana?
Filem ni dia pada saya lah, saya macam terlibat shooting. Dia macam memberi kefahaman tentang filem lah, sebab dia macam meruntuhkan segala kepercayaan kita macam mana how to make film. Kita macam dengan semudah ini pun bukanlah semudah, atau filem boleh jadi macam ni tanpa perlu rigid, tanpa perlu technical, tanpa perlu dialog atau acting semua tu. Dia macam postmodern punya benda lah. Sebelum ni saya tahu, sebab kita pernah terlibat, kita agak tak berani. Dia macam sebenarnya semua orang boleh buat, atau tapi kita boleh buang elemen konservatif filem lama tu lah, yang perlu perfect semua tu kan. Instead of saya rasa Tiada Cinta Selama Muda daripada tentang kejujuran kan, macam tak perlu perfect, tapi kita boleh buat filem yang kejujuran.
I have a question for Bedok. You know, what is the benda yang rigid yang you cakap betul, yang usually would restrict filmmakers untuk berkarya? Yelah, dia macam technical atau basic falsafah semua tu, macam kita perlu ada story paling penting kan. Filem tak ada story tak boleh kan. Kita boleh buat device, bukanlah device, kita boleh tanpa story kan. Hanya boleh macam ada keinginan dia bukan pasal lighting, dia bukan pasal story, dia bukan pasal makeup, even duit semua kan. Dia sangat meruntuhkan Hollywood punya benda,
structure tu lah,
Hollywood punya benda yang naratif tu. So, saya rasa dia sangat inspirasi lah untuk semua orang buat tu kan.
Tasha? Hazel, how do you find macam filem ni macam dari segi macam untuk berkembang sebagai aktor lah lepas ni, macam mana? What is your vision for yourself lepas ni?
To me kalau sebagai an actor, macam dia tak constrict sangat lah bila buat kalau sesuatu yang macam Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni. So dia macam balik towards what Syafiq said earlier on, we had the writing exercise. From there also dia secara kolektif dan kolaboratif seseorang tu untuk to be a willing contributor at that point of time. So dia it's more like you find a like-minded people to sit together and to just do and write. you know, there's no wrong or right in doing macam in TCSM, because it's more towards the rawness, the feelings, and yeah, experience.
Okay, kita ada soalan
So that is
daripada
for me lah.
backstage. So, filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni dia fiction ke dokumentari? Sebab kita nak bagi gambaran sikit kepada audience kita. Jadi mungkin setiap aktor mungkin boleh describe sikit lah apa itu, apa itu. Ini soalan yang sama dalam dalam kita punya filem. Tapi mungkin kita boleh beri sedikit gambaran lah kepada audience apa itu Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. Macam mana filem ni secara general ni lah, apa dia.
Bagi saya, filem ini hanya satu perasaan. Macam Beduk cakap tadi, dia tidak perlu ada jalan cerita, tapi dia hanya memberi perasaan, the absence of love. Ya, itu saja, perasaan. Don't try to find a story, or don't try to understand what does the filmmaker or writer is trying to tell. Don't try to understand the writer's intention, but just feel. When you watch the film, you just feel.
Sandee, boleh cuba describe Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni macam mana sebenarnya?
I think Roshafiq actually kind of encapsulate dia, like memang it's like perasaan. There's also another word that came to mind was like also memory. Like memories put together kind of thing, but it still goes back to that. It's like different perasaan. It could be many people's perasaan, or it could be a campuran of one person's perasaan with different people or same person and stuff like that. But it just felt that like different sort of feeling, and then whether the stories or like what's shared, it was a mix of ada yang fiction, ada yang sort of our memories and stuff like that. It was all kind of campur, and then it was the filmmaker like Ridwan putting them together. And I think we were also like talking about film and screen, and also this process of like device and working without script and stuff like that. That was the other layer, and which is we did all these modular feelings or dynamics and stuff like that, but in the end it was also we didn't know how Ridwan was going to put them together. And I remember there was one part where we had one initial screening where things were moved in another screening, like the position of that. It's like, oh, it felt so different just by moving the juxtaposition of that scene. And so it is, I think I would still say there is a journey. It's not necessarily a plot, but it still goes back to the base word perasaan and feeling through it. Yeah.
So,
saya pernah bincang dengan Ridwan tentang atau level untuk CSM ni kan, antara doku atau fiction. Saya tak rasa dia sebagai doku, even making dia, sebab kalau doku kita based on real event kan, atau apa ini bukan real, kita cuma mengungkapkan benda tu, kita macam bukan persoalan real, kita buat bukan benda yang nyata sebenarnya. Saya macam kalau macam nak letak fiction pun dia mungkin fiction, saya macam letak dia sebagai macam love story modern world je lah kot, macam hubungan cinta zaman yang macam sangat organized ni kan. Saya melihat dia macam tu, macam postmodern punya world.
Jadi mungkin paling last sekali lah, ada tak rasa cinta dalam filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda ni? Ada untuk yang, yelah mungkin Roshafiq dengan Shu Ni mungkin ada tengok sikit je lah, ataupun yang belum tengok final. Tapi macam apa yang dah ditengok tu, apa perasaannya sebelum kita tutup session kita petang ni?
Saya melihat TCSM dia macam, dia tentang cinta tapi dia macam more obvious punya love kan, macam dia macam apa, tahu dia punya feeling tu kita rasa macam menusuk perasaan yang menusuk ke dalam. Dia tak sedih tetapi kita tahu sebenarnya dia ke mana-mana, dia perasaan tu dia sangat tragik lah untuk orang muda. Even tajuk pun memang tiada cinta kan, sama muda.
Okay. Sandee, do you want to say something?
I think maybe I don't know if like the word of section ada ke? Yeah, tapi maybe the word like ada rasa like relationships in general. It's just the idea of relationships. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like, you know, being in a relationship or the loss of it or the memory of it or something like that. But it was like kind of based on relationship.
Tasha, susah tak nak jadi orang muda dekat Malaysia?
Susah jadi orang muda di Malaysia.
Yeah.
Mungkin tak semudah seperti sesuatu dalam puisi atau sastra, tapi dia ada perks dia lah. Yeah.
Okay. I think kita pun dah lebih 1 minit lah. Okay. Terima kasih kepada semua performer kita hari ini, Aziz, Sandee Chew, Hazel Khairuddin dan Lew Shu Ni dan juga Roshafiq Roslee. Kita mungkin kita tak adalah nak cari sangat apa perbezaan antara berlakon dekat atas pentas ataupun di dalam depan kamera kan. Tapi kita harap perkongsian ni macam adalah membuka minda sikit ataupun memberi sedikit gambaran macam mana kita membuat filem Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. Okay, lepas ni kita berehat dan acara terakhir kita malam ni pukul 8 kita ada performance tapi dalam bentuk video. So kita pukul 8 ada deconstructing Tiada Cinta Selama Muda. Jadi ada 9 performer 9 performer ataupun 8 campur 1 yang akan merespon balik kepada beberapa scene dalam filem ni sendiri. Jadi kita akan tengok apa perasaan diorang bila tengok scene tu dan apa yang kita boleh macam mana nak respon balik lah dengan tu kita buat performance. Dan okay, itu saja. Jadi okay, sebelum tu kita mungkin nanti kita akan post link untuk ke video tu dan kita harap semua orang boleh follow kita dekat Moka Mocha Ink ataupun nanti kita akan post juga dekat event page kita. Jadi stay tune pukul 8. Kita 9 video ni akan premiere malam ni juga. So kita boleh ada cara dia lah, nanti kita akan explain sikit, kita akan buat write up sikit macam mana kita boleh tengok ke 9 video ni nanti. Okay, terima kasih. Sesi Fikirasa Tiada Cinta Selama Muda dibawakan oleh Ensembel Teater Kaos Nol dengan kerjasama Moka Mocha Ink dan rakan strategik kita CENDANA Malaysia. Sebelum mengundurkan diri, saya ucap terima kasih dan mungkin nak minta maaf sikit lah. Kadang-kadang macam dia terblank sikit tadi. So kita harap semua orang akan terus bersama kita malam ni. Thank you. Good night. Good night pula. Okay. Okay, bye.